Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm going to hop into this weekly rapid arena and play 2 games, 10+0 time control, and just share my train of thought along the way. See who we get. Okay, game 1. Let's go with e4. 4-hour event. It's weekly rapid. Alright, I'm not used to seeing knight c6 there. Do I try to turn it into a queen pawn opening? Where this knight really doesn't want to be there, obstructing the c pawn. If I play this, we're in king pawn territory. I'm just wondering a little bit about this move and d5. I'm guessing that would be the reply. D4, d5. I could play it where I develop, takes, push. That seems interesting. Let's just go ahead and throw another pawn in the center and see how black reacts to this. If e5, I could consider the capture and then pushing here. Okay. I'm going to go with this idea. Takes, push. Okay. So we're both here obstructing the c pawns in this case. But a difference here is with the e pawns. And this has a direct impact on the queen bishops. Mine sees clearly. Black's not so much. So I could go with a alpha 0 pawn. Or simply develop. Knight f3. I'll go with knight f3. Seems very healthy, I guess. In this case, I'm following the knights before bishops general rule. My opponent does not want to see any pin. Wasn't really on my radar to go forward with the pin. This would be my, I guess sort of view it as my better bishop here. With these, this pawn here pretty much fixed. So, bishop d3, knight b4 is sort of irritating. Maybe I play a3, and just to prevent knight b4, pave the way for bishop here. Keep my knight stable on c3. I'll go with this. Okay, knight g6. So clearly eyeing up that g6 square. Let me follow through with this one. The knight here will not be stable. Opponent's playing very fast. This is a common idea. Black is very close to losing here. May be close to lost. Yeah. Because, I mean, if you try and stop this pawn, I could consider the capture. This, you have to take away from the center. So this variation I'm talking about. Okay, even with h6. Okay, not quite the same, because here, takes. This square is not a hole. Still have control over that. At the same time, this is still in the air. I think I like the idea of giving the knight a shove. Let me do that. And how is black completing development exactly? I think I want to go for the alpha 0 pawn. It's very, very cluttered here. Like how do you develop these 3 pieces with just these 2 squares to work with? This is not reliable. I was intending knight e2 to secure this and then give the knight a kick. I may even go here straight away. Yeah, I'm gonna shoot for this because it continues to play fast. Okay, give this knight a shove. Or, yeah, let me give it a shove right now. If I do one move later, the knight has access to this square. So my opponent has to undo that last move. Although, actually there might be this. Couple chops and then a c5 move. No, that's not quite working. I could play knight f3 and c4. I have this square. Yeah, it was close, though, to some follow-up plan where my bishop ends up getting trapped. I should have maybe considered it a bit more before playing g4. Okay. Runs in reverse. I could try for sort of a complete lockdown on the queen side. I think I like this idea. There is one big square I'm conceding. Continues to move fast like it's a well-known position. Okay, it is sensible here. I'll go with knight f4, or what I could try now. Let's go with this one and this idea. Okay, so I was pointing out a knight drifting into this square. If I'm able to control this square, I already have this one, there's no path into this weakest square. I'm going to go for this. I'm not vulnerable on this square. It's defended, so there's no tricks on either square. And if there's this capture, still keeping this option open, the downside is that this pawn is exposed. Isolated, I could try to target it. Also, no B pawn means that, okay, maybe I could take over control of this square. So I'm going to go for this complete lockdown on the queen side. What is not locked down is the king side. And I'm going to anticipate black challenging my furthest advanced pawn. What I have my eye on is queen d2, queenside castle, and eventually reorganizing in a way where I get an f4, f5 pawn break. Okay, yeah, let me go with this one right now to prevent any thoughts of sacrifice. I could also play it in a positional fashion where I go for a dark square bishop exchange and then drop a knight right here. So I don't necessarily have to go with some pawn break idea. Maybe even castling right now is healthy. I'm gonna do that and have my rook defended, and that way after this takes, bishop take, I'm not in any silly pin. Yeah, this is where my king wants to be anyway. I'll move my king here to keep this square open for a quick knight transfer. Not really thinking too much about this. I don't want to concede the f5 square. Okay, going with that one. So this square is now whole. Okay. I'll go for this. I may have slightly misplayed it. I mean, takes. The trades are helping black. Okay, eventual f4, I think, is what I'll end up doing. These pieces are pretty cluttered. As long as I think I'll always have something as long as this bishop is not allowed to exchange itself. So this piece is unprotected. Any tricks here? Should have plenty of time to defend. I didn't point this out. This was crossing my mind. Trying to determine, is the rook better off on g8 or h8? Think of this with then bishop here, but I'm just running into an eventual knight e7, and what am I doing exactly on this square? It'd be a different story if I already had this file opened, and I could look to pivot on this square with a rook. Not the case here. So on this capture, knight takes, bishop takes, knight c6, f4 is my plan. And rook here is healthy, knight b3 is healthy. And that's how I'm going to play it. I'm prepared to give up my dark square bishop. This is my bad bishop. Okay, I have to be a bit careful here. Are you going to go for the... Okay. This is a healthy move. This, in fact, combats this idea I don't have to take with the pawn. I could take with the knight. So I'm preventing the queen from gaining access to a3 with this last move, as well as preparing to drop in here straight away. The bishop does not have direct sight of c5 anymore. So let's see how the structure changes here. There aren't really many pawn breaks for black. These are the only two moves, two pawn moves available to black. Okay, still going for this, but it should not work. Let's see how this plays out. I'm cool with the queen exchange, and we're especially close now to this bad for good bishop exchange. I have control over these two, so when the knight comes to c6, it's under control. How to take? I'm going to go with this knight. Feels a little bit clumsy. No. No, take with the rook. Keep this knight here. And look forward to this one. I thought about this first because I still had in mind this move, but if I did that, capture, it starts to, I don't know, my opponent has a little bit of activity there. How about this rook does something productive? Knight here would not be good. Back off, and the knight isn't really doing anything. I'm not considering this now. I'd be inviting the rook to an even better square. This here is healthy. Actually, right here, I think. It feels healthy. And a timely capture and bishop f7 is nearby. A little concerned about the rook activity on the f-file. That's the only thing I'm seeing for black. You're going for it. I'll take a timeout here for rook e3. So take, okay, knight there. Is this a window for me to improve my knight? They were competing for the same squares. Or just back off. I'll back off. I'll go all the way here. Stay out of the way of maybe some quick doubling on the c-file. Okay. I'm going to go with this one. I like seeing that. My knight is a bit more stable now. Okay. Rook is sort of silly here. This file can open up. I get to decide when it opens up. And yeah, let's go here straight away. Get to the 7th rank shortly. I would love a knight exchange. Also, since there isn't as much pressure on e5 anymore with the pawn, this knight could now go somewhere else. My rook supporting this, so I have in mind this transfer, which looks very strong. Let me coordinate my rooks first. In case things open up, I want to be able to, I want to be defending one another. I want to be able to shift from one file to the other and compete. Maybe for the G file or the H file, something like this. Maybe a capture, rook quickly getting over here to track down a pawn. So let's go for this maneuver now. Okay. Let's hop in. This is a window for the knight to go here and not be captured straight away, but this should be really close to broken for black. I don't know, like rook here, knight d3. Knight d to c5. Rook takes, pawn takes, rook here. I will collect that pawn shortly. Okay, let's get this knight out of the way. Even positions where I give up the exchange should be good. There's ideas of clamping things down entirely, so now go for this. And just questioning the timing here. No, let's just work on improving this knight. This is a fantastic square. This was crossing my mind as well. Okay. Very active rook. I'm trying to keep my opponent off of my side of the board. It's one pawn in my house, but I am infiltrating here. This is a connected pass pawn, but it's not going anywhere. I could have maybe flicked in this straight away after bishop here, but there will be more than one winning approach by this point. Plenty of healthy moves. Ideally, keep the king on dark. Improving moves. Just constantly on the lookout for what my opponent may want to do. So, case in point right here. Looking forward to a pawn advance. Any bishop move besides here will be checkmate. Okay. And I'll go with this. I'd like to have my king here blockading and put my knight here. Just have a dark square grip. Alrighty. Yeah. Let's chop here. Defend the pawn. On pawn push. I could take, but I'm just going to hide behind it. Not allow any fancy checks. Given a move. King b4. Or excuse me, king b4. Yeah, let's do it. King b4, double up. Yep, last piece. Getting involved. Consider pushing now. Could have been considering that before as well. We'll crash through straight away. I'm on the bishop. Have to be a little careful of stalemate ideas. Not going to allow that. Yeah, let's just go here. It wouldn't be stalemate. Rook takes, knight takes. There's a pawn move there. But just having the rook there, cornering the king, no thanks. This is the clean approach. And okay, what am I doing? Let's just go ahead and okay, they resign there. Yeah, the space got to be way too much. Pawn played a little too fast, I feel. In the opening phase. All right, game 2 of 2. Team Black this time around. All right, let's play a Sicilian. Unusual. Second move. Alpha 0 pawn. Overextended here. Yeah, I should just put some immediate pressure on it and probably continue playing in this way. I want to get rid of it. Knight f3, bishop g4 cannot be maintained. I don't see any reason not to just take with the piece and keep the structure as is. I'm up a pawn. Knight f6 is healthy. Let's do it. Knight there. Not a problem. I needed to move my bishop anyway. So I'll go here. There's no tricks on this square. Bishop here. I could take the queen. It's not mate. Could run away. And so first things first. Bishop e2. Run in reverse. Okay. Yeah, let's take, and maybe knight here, actually. Yeah, knight d4, no check here. Queen has to move and defend that pawn. Not really a comfortable square for the queen, so my knight's going to be kicked shortly. Let me just carry on with the development. I'm just wondering here, which way do I want to go with my bishop? Fianchetto or not? Fianchetto seems very healthy. Tricks here. Alright, I'll just go with this one. I'm expecting my knight to be kicked. This was also crossing my mind. And this is, in fact, what I had in mind before playing knight to d4. This idea to control the knight. Or control this square here on f3, and then give it a kick. So this queen is asking for trouble. There's no tricks here. This is supported well enough, even if the knight wasn't there. Sacrifices will not be working with the follow-up block. Queen exchange to ensue. This is a thought running through my mind. D5 is also very healthy. I think I'm going to go with d5. Yeah, I like this idea of opening up another square for my bishop. I'm thinking my opponent's going to go wrong with the check b5, and then there won't be a way to cover that. Yeah, queen may even be getting trapped shortly. So watch for this angle for mate. I have fallen for mates before. In rapid. Smothered mate. Plenty of ways to defend that, though. Bishop there is cool. Be winning this rook shortly. First things first, where's this queen going? Queen here, I win the queen. Ooh. Queen here, I win the queen. There is only one square. Can I trap the queen? Queen a6. Queen a6, and probably just go ahead and track down the pawn. Not seeing a queen trap. Takes, king move, take the rook. Queen takes pawn. I could block here. You know, there's also an approach here where I don't even have to calculate queen here and just be up the pawn. Give the knight a kick. If you go here, there's a damaged structure. That's a deficiency. That ends up being a deficiency if you're on the edge. But I should really just do a little bit of calculation to bank some material in this situation. There really isn't a whole lot to be factoring in. These pieces are not super coordinated. Chop here, chop. This one I block. Chop here, chop. This check, on the other hand, I have to be prepared to block with this knight, because my queen would have a responsibility with the queen on c6 landing the check. Sacrifices on this square I'm still not seeing. So I'm going to go for it. Grab the material. Okay, king there. So that would seem more normal, but at the same time, king staying off of any knight checks. Staying out of any knight checks. Track the material. Probably grab the pawn with check. No. Going for the sneakier one. Let's block with the knight. Sacrifices here are not working. It is just the queen that I would need to tame. Okay. I could block with the queen or the bishop. I guess I'll go with the bishop. Yeah, I'll go with the bishop. I don't care about losing this pawn. I'm up the rook. What's the material count exactly? Is it a full rook at this point? 3, 4, 5. It is for right now. Okay. Probably knight on its favorite square is going to be best. Don't care about losing this pawn here. Prepared to slip away like this. Castle, rook f4 moves. Queen d3 moves. I should be thinking a bit more, maybe a bit more about offensive moves by this stage. Certainly welcome to a queen exchange. Even if my knight is tracked down, should be very good. Or wait a second, I'm miscounting here. I'm up more than just a rook at this stage because of that sacrifice on e6. I have a knight as well, a cornered knight. Let's flick in this check, and I think we're really close to tracking down a queen. Normally we'd want to step up. My opponent gonna step up. Also, there's this idea. King here, there's a check. Could also track down this knight. Gonna land the fork. Maybe a resigner. An e4, e5 idea. It's too soon. If you put a pawn in your opponent's territory and it could simply be undermined, is it worthwhile to, okay, and in this case, is it worthwhile to even plant the pawn there? Even better than the tracking the queen, we're going to have a mate. Only one move, and knight f2 will end it. e4, e5, e6. I mean, were those all back-to-back moves? e4, e5. Okay, almost. e4, e5, f4, e6. Only one move. Am I getting Nona fried here? The return of Nona Fry? No. All right, this one goes straight to mate. All right, I'm going to stop it right there. Feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. Hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care.